for the day, beautiful people. Still trying to put it together, y'all. Whew. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm sorry for my extreme tardiness today. My body just did not wake up. I ain't hear nothing. My husband had to come wake me up. Like, I would still be asleep right now. I would still be asleep right now if my husband didn't come wake me up. Let me tell you something. Me playing around with my time schedule, now that I'm back in school, is for the birds. I can't be doing it. I really cannot. And I went all the way to the deadline trying to finish up my work. 8 papers. 8 papers. 8 3-page papers that I had to get done. Well, yesterday after I got off live, I still had 3 to do because I had just finished up a couple hours before we started yesterday at 5 a.m. I had finished 5 of them, right? Working all day. I'm like, why don't I just follow the timeline, what's allotted to me? I wouldn't even be in this situation right here. So, but I finished it 5 minutes after the deadline, turned in the last one. It still accepted the assignment. But I'm like, you know what, this is too much. I'm getting too old for this. Yeah, but then yesterday when I got off, working on that 2 hours of sleep, I did not go back to sleep. I didn't close my eyes at all, which is probably what caused me to oversleep today, being up all day, working on them other 3 papers. And then when I finally closed my eyes just a little bit after midnight, my body just took its rest. I ain't hearing that nary alarm go off. And 3 of them were set. Not now 1 of them. My husband had to come wake me up. That's how deep I was sleeping, because I was only operating on 2 hours of sleep for like the last, I'm gonna say 2 days. 2 hours of sleep. Anyway, enough of me and my let's just say shenanigans, right? This is it, and a new term starts today. So let's get moving, people. Tick for hey girl, hey Prince, shalom, brother. Auntie, Grand Rising, Belinda Brown, Avia. Greetings, Mom, shalom, shalom, Elijah, Grand Rising, Hannah, shalom, Grand Rising, Shebrew, hey girl, hey, Dawn, Grand Rising, homies, Tabitha, shalom, shalom, Nasarayahu, Grand Rising, Jaway, shalom, Key, hey girl, hey, yo, I've been doing too much, Shebrew, too much, and listen, all of that, having to get all of that stuff, it's really all my fault. It really is. It's all my fault. I'm just like, you know what? I'll be driving my Oahspe probably bonkers sometime. Be like, girl, when is you going to get started? You know you got all of this to do. You got a timeline. And grandbabies was here. My 2 nieces was here, right? And then everybody hungry every 2 hours. So all of these breaks I got to take. And I'm just like, oh, my gosh. And on top of that, the refrigerator went out yesterday. So I had to clean out this refrigerator, move everything to the refrigerator outside in the garage. And then me and my husband had to go look for another refrigerator. We was trying to get somebody over here to see if they can fix it. But we figured this is probably the refrigerator. They didn't probably had this refrigerator because we didn't change any of the appliances yet. And they probably didn't they probably had this for a while. You know, it's good, but you know, it's probably time for it to be changed out, right? So it was out like 3 hours. I probably, you know what, I did doze off a couple times. Every time we got to another store, my husband woke me up. So I slept like in 10-minute increments 3 times for a total of maybe like 30 minutes yesterday. I was just like, you know what, this is too much. I wanted to cry. Like, why I do this to myself? So I realized how off my schedule really, really is. And like, I realized I be doing extremely too much. And I don't be made to do it. I choose to do it, right? Sometimes I just got to learn how to say no to some stuff, right? Now the week begins. And they got school to do. New term starts today. I got contract paperwork to work on. My body still want to sleep. All right, let me go. I'm done. I'm not going to complain anymore, right? All right, y'all, it's Monday. Happy Monday. December the 12th, 2022, day 286 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1306. Today, we are... I had to write that down wrong. Yeah, I wrote that down wrong. We are starting a new book, and I put my mark in here yesterday, still wrote the wrong page number down. We are starting a new book on page 84. We hop all the way to the end of after the book of Oahspe, and we go to the book of Su to the top. And this is the second cycle after the flood. And after we read, we'll probably read like 2 chapters here. The first one is like 8 verses. So we're going to read 2 chapters. The second chapter is 35 verses. And then after that, we're going to hop over and we're going to read like a couple pages of the Field Guide to the Spirit World. And then we're going to be out of here so I can get on with my very eventful day today. Jamil, shalom, shalom. Tony Greenhouse, shalom. Yeah, I know. I really do. I really do. Right? So I got to cut some things out of my schedule. I really do. Or I got to figure out how I got to do that. I'm going to have to set certain times for it. And after this time period, I'm going to just like have to not go back to it till the next time I got scheduled for it for the next day. All right, y'all. I got to triage appropriately. That's the thing. I got to triage my some things that can actually wait is going to have to just wait at this point in time, because time is really, I ain't gonna say time is catching up with me. My body is acting out against all my multitasking now. Okay, chapter 1, page 84 at the top. Jehovah spake in the gardens of Atavia, precinct of Su, Orion chief, in the Etherian firmament, saying, Su, my son, what of the red star, the far-off earth? Behold, her heavens are blighted. She is become barren and imparting immortal souls to my unending realms. So Su heard the voice, and he said, In thy name, O Jehovah, will I summon my gods of Hoyt and Israel. Swift messengers departed, and Su, quick perceiving God of 2 worlds in the Etherian Samar, foresaw the importance of the coming red star. He said, This, with my gods of Hoy and Israel, who will come in swift speed, shall be the second deliverance. Then came Lewing, god of Hoyt, and presently Sivan, goddess of Israel, and they stood before Jehovah's throne. Su said, Jehovah hath spoken. Jehovah hath spoken. Behold, the red star bringeth forth nor sons nor daughters more to Jehovah's realms. She is weak, unstrung, and out of tune, and cometh this way. In thy power and wisdom, O Jehovah, will I visit the red star. 6 years I will stand on her soil and course her heavens, and such potency give to her confused gods and lords as will make 1,000 millions sing for joy. To accompany me I have called you. Behold, I have charts and maps of her heavens and her corporal parts, and a history of her as yet young adventurers in the field of worlds. Let me read the whole verse again. Verse 7. And the angels, hold on, I'm sorry. I went down to the bottom of the page. Verse 6. In thy power and wisdom, O Jehovah, will I visit the red star. 6 years I will stand on her soil and course her heavens, and such potency give to her confused gods and lords as will make 1,000 millions sing for joy. To accompany me I have called you. Behold, I have charts and maps of her heaven and her corporal parts, and a history of her as yet young adventures in the field of worlds. Then spake Lee Wang and Stephen, saying, to do Jehovah's will and thine, behold, we are come to thee. Give us to fulfill whatsoever thou wilt. To the swift messengers, Sue said, ye have heard, go proclaim throughout my Etherian worlds my will, and summon up from Ithiviris 100 million skilled volunteers. When the red star shall cross the wing of Israel, we will go forth in power and land on her troubled parts in a sea of golden light. Chapter 2, page 85 at the top. In the Areniska of Portan of the Etherian worlds and division of Hoi in Israel flew the call of the gods for volunteers, than which a more welcome sound is not heard in high heaven to do Jehovah's will. And after than which a more welcome sound, after than is reference number 1, and 1 at the bottom simply says nor, N-O-R. And with the voice and call, there rose up hosts from every quarter and from every subdivision till the complement stood ready for the great work. And yet so vast were the fields and arcs of Israel that the hundreds millions chosen were as but a fraction compared to those left uncalled. Coming near the throne of Su and Aoix, the 100 million swarmed in squares and stars, and the chosen God took his place to the head and front, looking to the low horizon where rose the red star, the sick earth. And now the builders who had measured the elements lying in the route toward the earth formed their crescent ship of fire and equipped it, and with mantles and curtains and banners created it a vessel of beauty and ornament as well as service. Hardly was the ship completed when Jehovah's light encompassed it about on all sides, so that which beautiful before was now illuminated and sparkling and bright as a sun, and rich in golden colors, for of such kind was the eth of the heavens hereabout created. When Su entered the ship, the voice of Jehovah came, saying, another cycle came and is gone on the earth and her heaven, but still they fall to barrenness ere the succeeding dawn. Go now, O Su, my son, and a wider range give to the tetrarchs of both angels and mortals. Give a greater scope to tyrants, kings and queens on earth, and greater to the self-gods and self-lords in Hada, and more responsibility. Then all hands entered the Etherian ship, singing and rejoicing, observed by countless millions come to wish them a haven of joy on their 6 years' visit to the corporal earth. Su said, in thy name, O Jehovah, and by virtue of thy power vested in me, by thy power in me vested, my host shall forth at my command. Cut loose, ye gods, and thou, O ship of heaven, born to the red star, the earth be gone. And Su stretched forth his hands and waved them, and lo, the mighty ship of heaven turned on its axis, cutting loose from the high firmament. And it turned with its great curtains and banners, sailing gracefully and swiftly through the blue ether. The music of her Isinars swelled and rolled along on the spheres of many worlds, unseen to mortals, where dwell countless millions of spectators, viewing the marvelous speed and power and brilliant color of the great ship. Faster and faster she sped on, till nearing Chindat, which now cut sharp in the fields and forests of Israel, over which was potent the name of Su, the companion god and chiefess, friend of Af, Orion chief, son of Jehovah. When the ship came to the bridge and halted to take in the plan of the whirling earth, Su said, "Alight, alight, ye gods." And at once, as high as the moon and bright as the sun, the illumined ship stood to overawe the self-gods and warrior kings and murderers of the earthborn, whose plentiful souls and chaos polluted heaven. For 3 days and nights, Su held his starship to the wonderful task of mastering by the marvelous scene, and then slowly he entered the vortex of earth, but held his course, nor with the earth and her heaven, where he desired that both corporeans and atmospherians should witness the coming power. So slowly he came, but 50,000 miles a day, and when the ship neared the disorganized horde, the self-gods and self-lords fled and left their well-supplied kingdoms desolate, and down to the earth rushed in thousands, and with their host in millions, to hide or safely stow themselves from agony's just hate. Like, I would have some questions at this point for those ruling gods that said there is nothing higher above them. So I would have been like, I would have been the instigator. So what you're really trying to say is you was lying to us, right? Because why are you running? Is there something in your heaven that you didn't know about? Or is there somebody actually higher and greater than you? Tiffany, hey girl, hey. Oh, thank you. Nene, shalom, shalom. Look, Tiffany, I really have. She said, "You have always been this way. I love you, laugh out loud. It's a part of what makes you so amazing and tired." Oh, I know, right? Like, I've been trying to get my schedule under control since I landed here on this earth. And I just add more stuff to my plate all the time. But it seems like I get this rush, right? It's crazy. It's really called procrastination and just waiting till the last minute to do things. Because I don't know, my life would be so much more peaceful if I didn't give myself certain rushes. Like, I'm going to see how much better I can be. Like, first of all, in my mind, for real, I didn't think I was going to meet the deadline. Like, my professor, he's like, "Pamela, okay, if you say you can do it, I'm going to trust you." I said, "Don't worry about it, professor. I'm going to get all 8 10-page assignments in by tomorrow night." And he just looked at me like, "Okay, you know they already late." I know, but I'm going to finish what I started. And I got it in. 30 points right off the top of each of my 8 papers that I had to turn in. Look, while I was sitting there last night, I'm like, "Father, I really could use some overshadowing right now. Where's the angels, the line of light? I'm here at my typewriter, and it's the wee hours of the morning. Let's go." But I had to come up with everything out of my own person and the books that I was supposed to read for this. I'm like, "Pam, you know what? You read everything else." I really saw how much, like, people do what they want to do, right? I read all kinds of stuff, but my organizational structure book, I skimmed through it. I did not do my due diligence on researching that, and I'm sure my papers could have been way better than what they was. Like, I put some effort into it, but I could have did a whole lot more if I had read most of the stuff I was supposed to read. I skimmed through it. I'm like, and I could hear my professor, "Remember, the work you turn in should be master's level work." I'm like, "Pamela, is this master's level work?" I'm like, "And this is what you do for a living. This is not going to cut it." Yeah, so this is not how I plan to spend my first term. Acting like I'm still in high school and the work I turn in. I'm truly ashamed of myself. I really am. I think it's a part of genetic makeup. It probably is, Fritz. And I got a heaping dose of it in my makeup. Trying to figure out what all this is for. I'm gonna do better. Let's get back to the reading, y'all. Because I got a billion things I need to cut from my schedule today and maybe focus on about 3 or 4. Okay, hold on. Whew. Boy, I tell you, we live and we learn. And I forgot my spot. Rockets, no. Oh, yeah, verse 11. Okay, verse 11. But the true God and Lord stood firm in their depleted kingdoms, fearing naught, but in faith that this Etherean ship was Jehovah's answer to their long cry for help from the heavenly spheres. And by their pillars of fire still standing, great Su knew where to land in the lower heaven for safe anchorage. So toward it he came, slowly and toward the throne of God. And when he neared the place, his Essenars chanted and trumpeters played, the sound of music which came to the ears of God and his hosts, and they were the hymns of more than 1,000 years ago. And God and his hosts sent up rockets and displayed the 3 primary colors, the sign of Jehovah's name, and God's Essenars joined in chanting with the host above. Presently, the ship of fire was at the place of landing, and Su, Jehovah's son, cast out a ladder and descended with his host, the 100 million angels, led by Gusitivi, marshalless of the throne of Su in Israel. Su said, Hail, O God of heaven and earth, in Jehovah's name I am come in power and wisdom. And God answered, Glory be to thee, O Jehovah, that thy son hath come so far to bless thy bewildered kingdom. Then they saluted with the signs and the 6th resurrection, whereupon God said, In the name of the Great Spirit, come thou and honor my throne. So Su went forward, and they greeted by shaking hands, and Su ascended and sat on the throne, saying, Keep thy place, O God, for I am not come to displace thee or thy host of Jehovah, but to build up for his glory. Be seated, therefore, for I feel the light of the Father descending on my head. Presently, the all light enveloped Su, and the Father's voice spake through him, saying, Hear the words of thy Creator, my son, and rejoice, because I have not forgotten thee and thy people. Behold, this is the hour of thy redemption from the trials of tetrarchs, which are run abroad in my dominions. Was it not worse than this in the olden time? And I came with my host and delivered them. I created man in darkness and gave him no judgment, that the creation of his own thoughts might be for his own glory forever. But instead of beautifying his thoughts, he hearkened to the tetrarchs and clothed himself in clouds. The heaven I build for him, he diggeth to pieces, and then buildeth his own, but only to be displeased and turbulent. Neither will he content himself with providing with his own hands, but searches out the most dutiful sons and daughters, making slaves of them for his own exaltation. Behold, I have aforetime sent my sons and daughters to search out these traitors and self-gods, declaring unto them that only by forsaking evil and practicing righteousness could they attain to my exalted kingdoms. Their evil places I have cast down and rebuilt in honor and glory, that their judgment might determine the virtue and good works. Hold on. Let me go back. Their evil places have I cast down and rebuilt in honor and glory, that their own judgment might determine that virtue and good works are the sure foundation for happiness that will endure forever. But when I have raised them up in one cycle and made the lower heaven a paradise, alas, my Ethereans have been gone away for a little while, when the tetrarchs take root and grow and turn all things upside down. But now will I build them up in a new way. Yea, I will appropriate the evil of their inventions to their own good in a way that they dream not of. Reminds me of a verse in Genesis where it's talking about how God takes everything that was meant for your bad and turn it around for your good. But now will I build them up in a new way. Yea, I will appropriate the evil of their inventions to their own good in a way they dream not of. The false gods and false lords shall be arrested and brought before his judgment seat, and brought before this judgment seat, and I will judge them by their own behavior and desires. Neither will I torment them, nor abridge their happiness. Send therefore, my son, thy marshals into the hidden places of these gods and lords, and say to them, Thus saith the host of heaven, Come, my son, and inherit a kingdom in Hada in thine own way. For lo, there is room for all, but that thou art not left behind, come quickly to Horeb. And they will come, hoping to embellish themselves in the old manner. But my light shall come in due time in my own way. And this is where I believe it begins. You remember, because as we go on, these false lords and gods, they got to start cleaning up their messes, right? And when they go before the judgment seat, they thinking, all right, I'm going to be damned somewhere forever. And they like, no, that ain't what we're going to do. You wanted to be the king? We're going to give you your kingdom back. No, I want it not. Because at this point, when they're actually giving the kingdom back, they have just been rescued from a knot in Hada, in hell, to where the previous kingdom that they embellished and built up for themselves for their own self-glory, not teaching their people of the higher heavens and helping them to grow, they made them into slaves to just worship them all day, right? Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, right? All day long. You bowing and casting down your crown before him while he's sitting there. Yes, yes. Fan just a little bit more. Where are my grapes? And everybody. And somebody need to ask the question, what is we doing? How long we going to be doing this? This all we're going to do for the rest of our life? I don't know. I didn't think I signed up for this, right? I would have been the one asking questions. And get her out of here. She disrupting everything. Her and her schedule. Get her out of here. Matter of fact, put her schedule on top of her. Put her in the schedule knot. All from my own choices. Okay, listen. So, but this is where it begins to turn around for them because they're not just completely done away with because of all the evil they're done. They're given a chance to redeem themselves, right? By giving them that kingdom right back to them and being responsible to now raise them up to their level of wisdom. And before this particular God or Lord or whatever your position, before they can rise up to the next level of all light, they have to have their whole crew, everybody that they had slaves, everybody had to be in attendance and everybody had to be at the same level. Like bring them up to your highest light. And when everybody's at your highest light, you will all go together as brothers and sisters, not master and slave. All right? Listen, so this is where this begins. Listen, I'm going to go back. I'm going to reread 18. But now will I build them up in a new way. Yea, I will appropriate the evil of their inventions to their own good in a way they dream not of. The false gods and false lords shall be arrested and brought before this judgment seat, and I will judge them by their own behavior and desires. Neither will I torment them, nor abridge their happiness. Send therefore my son and thy marshals into the hidden places of these gods and lords, and say to them, Thus saith the host of heaven, Come, my son, and inherit a kingdom in Hada, in thine own way. For lo, there is room for all, but that thou art not left behind, come quickly to Horeb. And they will come, hoping to embellish themselves in the old manner, but my light shall come in due time in my own way. The voice ceased, but Su spake of his own account, saying, What Jehovah hath ordered, do ye. So marshals and priests were sent in all directions in atmosphere to gather in the false gods and false lords who had deserted their dominions in fear of the light of Su's Etherian ship. And after many days, the false ones were brought to Horeb, and there were of them 7,000 lords and gods. Now when they were before Su, Jehovah's son, and arranged so that all could hear and see, even the whole council besides, the light gathered round about the throne, and Su addressed them, saying, Hear me, O men and women, I have sent for you, and ye are here. In this I am pleased. Know then that what I speak shall be in love and tenderness. Ye have deserted Jehovah's kingdoms, and it must be because it pleased you better. Okay. Hear me, O men and women. I have sent for you, and ye are here. In this I am pleased. Know then that what I speak shall be in love and tenderness. Ye have deserted Jehovah's kingdoms, and it must be because it pleased you better than to remain. Is this not true? And ye also deserted your own false kingdoms? For a little while they consulted together, and then answered, saying, Nay, it pleased us not to desert our own kingdoms, but we were afraid. Sue said, Who think ye I am? They answered, A God from some far-off world, but where it lieth we know not. We desire to know who thou art. Sue said, I am but a man. Fear me not. But since ye feared and so deserted your kingdoms, does it not prove that ye are not the all-highest? And do you not perceive that, because ye had no all-highest, ye were divided and inharmonious? Hear then that which I say, and consider my words. I want not your kingdoms, nor anything ye have, but that harmony may reign in heaven. I will give every one of you more than ye had, and add power unto ye also. Since ye behold, I am come to Horeb, the throne of the ancients, perceive ye not whatsoever accordeth with me is of my power also? That was a question. I completely screwed that up. Let me read it over. Verse 27. Since ye behold, I am come to Horeb, the throne of the ancients, perceive ye not that whatsoever accordeth with me is of my power also? Take then your kingdoms, and be gods and goddesses, as ye assumed before, and I will anoint ye, and make ye as part and parcel of one united whole. Yes. Are you standing there to ask me to give me a hug? When most mornings you just come and bulldoze me out the way to give me a hug? Don't forget, your exam begins at what time? 10:15. What time you got to show up? What time you got to check in? 10:04. No. Go look at the notes for you. You have to check in at 9:45. Get the schedule under control now, son. Trust me. You're going to love yourself for getting your schedule under control now. All right, y'all. Hold on. We almost done. It's 35 verses. We're on verse 28. Why shall we take our kingdoms? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just read 27 again. Since ye behold that I am come to Horeb, the throne of the ancients, perceive ye not that whatsoever accordeth with me is of my power also? Take then your kingdoms, and be gods and goddesses, as ye assumed before, and I will anoint ye, and make ye as part and parcel of one united whole. Again they counseled together, and then answered, Why shall we take our kingdoms? Our slaves have deserted us. Our kingdoms are pillaged of all their value. Yea, our slaves have become wandering spirits, and are returned to the earth, and are making their habitations with mortals, so that the people of the earth are aroused because of miracles and wonders occurring on earth. Sue said, What can ye say to these wandering spirits that will induce them to come up away from mortals? To which they answered, If we promise them provender and clothes and plenty of rest, they will come. But when we put them to labor, they will run away, having tasted of liberty. Sue said, How then made ye slaves of them in the first place? To which they answered, We took them in the day their mortal bodies died, and they never saw nor knew any other place in heaven. So we appropriated them to our service dutifully. Sue said, Know then, this is my conclusion. First, that ye shall all be made as sub-gods to one confederacy, and your kingdoms shall be fair to look upon, and well supplied with all things needful. Behold, there are on earth, with the barbarians, hosts of familiars and feudals. Whoever then of you will go down to the earth and bring them away to Horeb shall have them for his slaves, and whosoever bringeth the greatest number, to him will I award the greatest kingdom. And if it be that ye can find emissaries to work for you in bringing feudals and familiars away from the barbarians, then shall such labor be accounted to your credit. And ye shall station around about in the corporal cities certain angels whose labor shall be to receive newborn spirits on birth blankets and bring them to your kingdoms also, for they shall be your slaves. And after the manner spake Sue, and the false gods and goddesses were highly pleased, and they divided themselves into certain districts over mortals and for the lower heaven, and were at once sent off to labor in their own way, and they were named sub-gods. Sue said, these sub-gods have much weight with the barbarians, because they advise them in war. But behold, it shall come to pass, when the sub-gods have robbed the barbarians of their familiar spirits, the Ehim priests will have a greater weight with them. And the sub-gods will desire to find favor in my sight, and so teach their slaves, the which will cause them to emancipate themselves in time to come. What an awesome plan, right? We're going to need to, how did y'all get them to your kingdom in the first place when you made them slaves? All right, well, this is what we did. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. I want you to still do that, right? But we're going to lead them away. Go ahead and promise them what you need to promise them. You ain't going to be lying to them, but you need to get them away from the barbarians so we can raise up the earth people, right? It's going to be your task to go retrieve all your one-time slaves, bring them back, make them joint heirs with you, and help them to get all of their disembodied brothers and sisters, get them away from the earth, so our shards that are stationed on the earth can work with the barbarians and bring them up to code as well. We can all grow together, right? And whichever one of you do the greatest work, we'll put you in charge, right? So now they all vying for a position. Everybody trying to do the greatest work, bring them up because they want to rule, right? So you use that, I guess you can call it Jedi mind trick, but for the highest light of everybody involved, right? We got to get them away so the people on earth can stop acting crazy and running around in darkness, and my shard station there can do their work and bring them up to code, right? All right, y'all, so we'll pause right here. That was the end of chapter 2 of the book of Sue, S-U-E. All right, so we'll read a page or two in the Field Guide to the Spirit World, and we'll get out of here. We had 37 minutes, although we're a whole hour late. We only had 37 minutes, but y'all, if y'all got to go to work, I do understand. We recorded. I'm in the wrong today. I've been in the wrong the last couple of days trying to work out my soul's salvation. Look, Tigba, you came in first. Hold on. I thought that homework and took you down for the count. Lesson learned, right? Seriously, almost did, right? Seriously, I was doing a lot of thinking about this in my last minute. Although I tend to thrive on the adrenaline rush that I get trying to beat deadlines. I need to grow to a higher light, right? Look, that helped me get my stuff done on time, just by the skin of my teeth earlier in life. But now that I've grown a little bit older and my children are doing that same thing, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, I should be actually having all of that under control, having it turned in early, right? Early enough to where the professor can look at it, give me some feedback, and possibly release it back to me so I can do some updates, some corrections, and turn it back in for a more perfect paper and a higher grade, right? The professors are operating as Ashars and our teachers here in the physical, and I'm making their job hard. We talk about them in the spiritual world, but we got to get our own self under control with our Ashars that we can see and our instructors that we can see. Like, I got to take all the stuff that I'm learning and literally apply it to my waking life every single day in the most basic of things. Yeah. All right, y'all. So we are on page 184. No, I'm sorry. Nope, I forgot to move this. It's chapter 8, the overshadowing, page 185. I'm gonna get it together, y'all. I promise y'all I am. 185. It's entitled The Overshadowing. And so we're just gonna read like 2 pages. Well, to the end of the top of the page 187, simply because that last sentence on this page just carries over to the top of the next page. So after we do this, we're going to be out of here. All right, page 185, The Field Guide to the Spirit World, chapter 8, entitled The Overshadowing. Quote, "You can know things that can't ever be proven, and that knowledge often has a certainty to it that the evidential sort never does." Read it over. "You can know things that can never be proven, and that knowledge often has a certainty to it that the evidential sort never does. There are these unproven things about which I have a quasi-religious certainty, things I will act on more readily than anything I could support with mere evidence." End quote. J. Mark Bertrand, Back on Murder. When science and spirit work together openly and appreciatively for the common good, balance, harmony, and progress are achievable goals. Kind of like what we were just talking about with them pulling the spirits from the barbarians up to Hada. Work with them. They trying to work down there. You do this. You work together. This going to be a cool partnership. When science and spirit work together openly and appreciatively for a common good, balance, harmony, and progress are achievable goals. But try to subsist on either one alone, science or spirit, and our efforts eventually founder. Neither one alone can completely map out or improve the human condition. They are natural partners in the mastery of life, two sides of the same coin. The enlightened man dabbles in both. He is an inveterate generalist. But given the failure of organized religion to bring peace in the world, science has temporarily gained the upper hand. Many of our leaders today make a god of science. In fact, we have reached a point of where the secular approach is politically correct, while the various systems of belief of faith are not. We are advised to just keep them to ourselves. What you looking for, babe?
I'm looking for mine. You see my polo jacket? My blue polo jacket?
When did you wear it?
Right. I wore it a couple times, that was it. But I don't know what it said now.
You want to wear it today?
No, I just want to know what it said. You know, I got two of them. I'm just trying to make sure that one is it.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it for my keys too.
Oh, okay. But given the failure of organized religion to bring peace in the world, science has temporarily gained the upper hand. Many of our leaders today make a god of science. In fact, we have reached a point where the secular approach is politically correct, while the various systems of belief of faith are not. We are advised to just keep them to ourselves. All of this has put SciMat at the top of the game, the alpha dog. And this is good to the extent that the objectivity, the neutrality of science is an international language capable of fostering global understanding and cooperation. But science has gone to our head, and when it becomes a denier of spirit, contemptuous of intuition, foresight, dreams, angels, second sight, and ESP, the distortion of truth inevitably sets in. And after sets in, there's an asterisk. And down at the bottom it says, I have written about this in Delusions in Science and Spirituality, 2015, attempting to show how the exclusion of the unseen has resulted in such popular but fallacious theories as Big Bang, evolution, Freudianism, and even global warming. Go back up. A good example, the human mind cannot be reduced to the human brain. Yet this is precisely the sort of reductionism that SciMat has thrived on, and the public eats it up. The almighty brain trumps all. That's good. Let me read that again. But science has gone to our head, and when it becomes a denier of spirit, contemptuous of intuition, foresight, dreams, angels, second sight, and ESP, distortion of truth inevitably sets in. A good example, the human mind cannot be reduced to the human brain. Yet this is precisely the sort of reductionism that SciMat has thrived on, and the public eats it up. The almighty brain trumps all. Right? Yeah, that's amazing the way she just put that, because imagine, you can't imagine. Like the brain, looking at the brain, somebody standing on the outside looking at the brain, like, I wish I had something. Like looking at the brain, you would not be able to tell it was capable of all the spiritual insights and activities that it could literally take your spirit on. You wouldn't be able if you're not taught, nobody would be able to look at that and figure out, unless they actually had one and was able to experience it, that this is a vehicle that will help you transverse multiple worlds and realities. Think about the astral projecting and the out-of-body experiences, right? Just by this one thing, this one particular piece of matter that everybody has, right? That's good. A good example, the human mind cannot be reduced to the human brain. Yet this is precisely the sort of reductionism that SciMat has thrived on, and the public eats it up. The almighty brain trumps all. Besides the almighty brain, SciMat has come up with another darling to stun us with its dazzling breakthroughs. DNA genetics. Theorists today are less embarrassed discussing the possibility of an evil gene than evil spirits. Nevertheless, quote, the genetic argument cannot explain the low homicide rate of Australia, a country even younger than the United States, whose early settlers were, in many cases, deported to the nether continent as transgressors of the laws of their day, end quote. Loon, 1976, page 17.
What?
What you looking for?
Making noise. I'm looking for a lid now. Why was my shirt over on your side of the thing? Over there with your stuff. I mean my jacket.
Your jacket?
Yeah, it was over there with your stuff.
What
you wore my clothes? Why ain't here?
No.
I think you wore my clothes.
What jacket?
Jacket.
You found it mixed in my stuff?
Yeah.
On my side of the closet? Was it in that pile on the floor?
Yeah.
By my shoe shelf?
How you know where it's at?
Because I'm about to tell you how your jacket got there.
You put it over there.
Remember, sitting at the desk, like, Pam, do something with all this crap that you done piled up on the chair.
Oh,
but you also piled your jacket in the midst of me piling my crap on the chair. You walk past, take the jacket off, throw it up there, right? And me, I was already in the habit of throwing my stuff up there. So when you got tired of seeing the mountain pile up on my office chair, like, Pam, do something with this crap.
I told you.
So what I do?
Clothing hangers for you.
I grabbed it, I walked into the closet, and I dropped it on the floor.
I put it in the box. It's not like Gina. And I threw it in another box.
Because that's one of the things that I triage as low on my schedule at that particular time. Because kids
cleanliness should never be low.
Hold on. Cleanliness is never low.
Oh,
but at that time, hanging up all that stuff that accumulated on that desk chair. What?
Don't
okay, listen. No. Hold on, listen. Because when you get hungry.
You clean or you ain't?
No, listen. Because when you get hungry.
Talk like listen, you gonna die.
No. Listen. When you get hungry.
I'll bring my stuff down here. What?
Who cut me off?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
When you get hungry, and then you want to start barking out orders about everything, how would you like me to triage this from this point? Would you like me to keep your belly high on the list and feed you?
What that got to do with clothes sitting on the doggone back of a chair?
Because I remember my whole attitude was taking my pile of clothes. Because I was like, I ain't got time to hang up this.
Like that. See?
Because I track everything. I just got to put it in order.
You don't like order. You like chaos.
Listen,
that's how you think.
I did not already confess my sins
like
to the brethren.
Did
I confess my sins to the brethren the last couple days?
Like
I've been standing before the altar.
Because she got to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning doing homework saying, oh, next time, like, you could have been in order and did it way better than this, but you want to be chaotic and want to wait till the last day and do 50 doggone assignments, hoping that you didn't flunk not all of them. That's you, not us.
What are you laughing at? You better hurry up. You gotta take a test.
Why your mama get like, man, dude, you live a complicated life, man, like for what, man?
That's what I just said.
Okay, go ahead.
Your jacket got temporarily displaced in the midst of me trying to
chaos.
Trying to triage my schedule to make sure my husband is fed.
Right, that's how you feel. My orders should never be in your chaos. Remember, that's what I'm saying. Remember that.
But sometimes
orders should never be in chaos.
Wait, what?
Order should never be in chaos.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
To some, they look at it like, what that should never be. It couldn't be.
Right, it
could be. Trust me, it could be when an orderly person, when you doing things orderly, yes, chaos wants to knock at your front door. Up to you if you're going to open it or not. That's what I'm telling you. Real talk.
Sometimes I'm forced to open the door.
From what you say, the words that come out your mouth,
when you're orderly,
you ain't going to do nothing. That's what you say. You black. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So
I told y'all. I told y'all. I'm trying to pull myself together. And at that time, feeding the family was ranking at the top of the list.
See, okay.
So I'm taking the clothes. See? I'll get back to it later, although they've been in that same house.
Do y'all hear how she just changed up?
I not changed
up. At first it was feeding me. Now it's feeding the family. This girl I'm
but
talking
are you not a part of my family?
Watch.
Let's not quibble over terms.
Swiggle your way into the doggone truth.
Let's not quabble over terms.
I'm just using it. I'm just letting you know. This is the debate of the feet I have to go through.
Listen, what time do you need to be out there on the job site?
I'm gone. I gotta go make the bacon. All right, I'll see y'all later on.
All right, babe. Let's get back to this. All right. Page 186. Besides the almighty brain, SciMat has come up with another darling to stunt us with its dazzling breakthrough. DNA genetics. Theorists today... See? I be being completely honest with y'all. I know I'm trying to work myself out of my what do I want to call it? Like my time schedule hell knot, so to speak. I'm trying to make it all orderly. And the more you try and straighten it out, everything just sorry, Facebook. I almost lost you. I was trying to move these things out the way, and it's bugging me because my schedule has so much stuff on it. I cut my notifications off. My husband's like, turn the notifications on because you ain't gonna see when my stuff come through. So now that I put my notifications back up, every 2 minutes the schedule is going off. So I got to go through this. It's just reminding me of all the stuff that I have to get done to clear the schedule so the important stuff that need to go to the top can be triaged appropriately. And us moving here into this next phase of our government contract paperwork and stuff, like I really have to get a hold on this now. Like that's why everything is like piling up. I have to be able to not juggle it, but appropriately schedule and monitor my time and triage it. Don't wait till it pile up, but do it when it needs to be done. So and just
visits from the other sides of the family is prohibited. It is not allowed to come over because of Jesus Christ. Yes.
Yeah, this weekend has been a bit of a blur for me. Let me finish this. We almost at the bottom of this page, and we got to get out of here. Besides the almighty brain, SciMat has come up with another darling to stunt us with its dazzling breakthroughs, DNA genetics. Theorists today are less embarrassed discussing the possibility of an evil gene than evil spirits. Nevertheless, quote, the genetic argument cannot explain the low homicide rate of Australia, a country even younger than the United States, whose early settlers were, in many cases, deported to the nether continent as transgressors against the law of their day, end quote. Loon, 1976, page 17. Still, the game is afoot, and the goal is to find, quote, genetic determinants, end quote, for almost any unusual behavior, supposedly demystifying even our most bizarre behavior. Take sleepwalking, for example. Time magazine, May 18, 2015, page 27, proudly announced, quote, discovered that sleepwalking may be a genetic trait. New research found that among children whose parents both have a history of sleepwalking, more than 60% will develop the behavior, end quote. Pandering to human vanity, such discoveries seem cheering when we can blame our quirks and our faults on some gene. Oh, what a relief it is to find out that we are not accountable after all, being the helpless victims of heredity, right? And that was a bit of sarcasm if you ain't picked that up, right? Oh, what a wonderful day it would be when we find out that we are not responsible, right? But being caught in the hell knot, whatever knot it may be, will quickly remind you that you are the reason you are here, right? You made some not so wise decisions, which led you here, right? We'll take a break. Let's give you a moment a moment of reprieve, or whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit of R&R, just to look back over your decisions to see how we got to where we are today. Let's go back a few more years. Note from the time you learned to say mama and dada. Let's look at it. Listen. Pandering to human vanity, such discoveries seem cheering when we can blame our quirks and our faults on some gene. Oh, what a relief it is to find out we are not accountable after all, being the helpless victims of heredity. Thank God we are not responsible. Key, look. She said, my children don't sleepwalk, but sleep talk and sleep slap occasionally. That's funny. Okay. Listen. Oh, what a relief it is to find out we are not accountable after all, being the helpless victims of heredity. Thank God we are not responsible. But we do not inherit most of our behavior. We learn it. When we encounter some disposition like sleepwalking that runs in families, it is most likely nurture, not nature, that makes it so. For example, one psychologist noted that, quote, many multiples have children who also turn out to be multiple, end quote. Knoll, 1990, page 33. He quotes Dr. Clough's sardonic remark that, quote, child abuse is the gift that keeps on giving, end quote, meaning that abused children, when grown, tend to abuse their own children. And this is how the gift is, quote, inherited, end quote. 98% of multiples were victims of abuse. Dr. Peck informs us that the mother of his patient, Becca, was also possessed. Peck, 2005, page 179. Does this prove the daughter inherited? Of course not. Let me just finish this little paragraph. Of course not. Many of Dr. Rappaport's OCD patients, quote, have family members with typical OCD, end quote. Rappaport, 1989, page 152. Does this mean that it's genetic? Not necessarily. Even when there is plenty of insanity in the family, it does not mean genes. It means nurture. Yet SciMat keeps pulling us back to the guilty gene. Quote, manic depression is familial, probably genetic, end quote. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, page 97. But what about the banshee spirit? In Ireland, it is usually a family, not an individual, that has a banshee attached to it.
What is a banshee?
A screaming demon.
Barrel?
That's my terminology for it. Yeah. All right, so this is where we're going to pause at right here. And I guess, look, this kind of lines up with me. What? What does it smell like? Wash it. Does it have it? Let me see it. No, it don't have a smell to me. Gonna wash it anyway, and we done both stuck our noses in it. All right, y'all. That's it for today. All right. Thank y'all for hanging out with me here in these late hours. Now I'm gonna have to remove something from the schedule today to keep my children on track, so I can be done with their schooling by 1. That's the goal. That's the beauty about homeschooling. It really don't take that long. It wouldn't take this long if I didn't have 4 that I needed to personally give attention to, right? So we get that done. And then move on, because I got to prepare tomorrow, because we got to be out here. Oh, tomorrow. I know I'm not going to be late tomorrow, because my husband going to have to get up just as early as I normally do, because we have to go to Richmond tomorrow. So I'm sure I'll be all right. I'm just probably going to bed about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. But we have to be out of here early. So I know I'm going to be on time tomorrow. I'll probably be early tomorrow, probably like 5 minutes early. And we're going to have to cut it off at the hour mark, because as soon as I'm done at 7:15, I'm going to be walking out the door. We got to get on the road. All right. So with that being said, beautiful people, thank y'all for hanging out with me today. It is December the 12th, 2022, day 286 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1306. And we read in Oahspe today. We started the book of Sue on page 84, and we paused on page 89. I'm sorry, page 89. Didn't put it down. Page 89. And then we hopped over here to the Field Guide to the Spirit World. We started chapter 8 on page 185, and we paused at 187. Oh my gosh. And I just remembered I didn't do any kind of adoration this morning, so I got to give y'all 2. Okay, so the first one, Father, thank you for somebody that come see about you. Right. Thank you for my husband that came to see about me this morning when he woke up before I did.
Mom.
So thank you.
Mom.
For people who come to see about us.
Mom.
Secondly, yes, Tootie.
I get one of these sticks.
Hold on, Pooh. Secondly, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to learn from our lessons, even if we get caught in a hell knot or a time knot, or even if we get stuck somewhere under all of our mess because of all of our decisions. Thank you for teaching us lessons out of all of that so we can redeem ourselves. Right? And I know that was kind of selfish today, but I got to figure it out. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. You're welcome. Kizzy, shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. Uncle JB. Okay. Y'all need to swing back if y'all have time. Look, if we have time. Like, I'm going to have to, because we're going to Richmond, I'll probably clear the schedule. Like, kids don't get a free day tomorrow. No school. But we might be able to. We might be able to clear the schedule off, because it was going to be mostly cleared because we had to go to Richmond tomorrow. So we probably will. Maybe we can do lunch or something real quick. Okay. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Imam, make it a great day. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow, bright and early, like 5 minutes early tomorrow. So we start at 6:15. I'll be here at 6:10, ready to rock and roll. Right? See y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.